back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I thank you for your love, for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you that have subscribed to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I celebrate all of my subscribers. I really do. These are thumbs up for you. Okay, so if you are new to Stylish Naija YouTube channel, this is the first time of you coming across Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I would appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button and then hit on the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So that's just like basically the essence of hitting on that bell. So okay, yeah, let's continue. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut a one-sided maxi bubu. So that's what we're going to learn how to cut and sew today. So I assure you, even as a beginner, you can actually watch this video. At the end of this class, you will, I assure you, not you should, you will be able to cut and sew this one-sided bubu. It is a very simple, easy project, like a beginner's project. Yes. Okay, so if you want to register for our online classes, you can see my number scrolling through the screen. Just send me a message on WhatsApp and then I'll give you the details of the classes that we have available. Just send me a message. Okay, so initially I have these two fabrics here that I want to use. So I'm just thinking which of the fabrics to use. Just before I started the video, it's like the idea now came. That's like I got the answer. So this one is actually 3 years and this one is about 5 years. So I'm just going to keep this. I'm going to make use of this one. So they are like satin. You understand? They are like satin like fabric. So we're going to use this. So for this dress, I'm going to make use of 3 yards of fabric. So that's what we're going to use. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to fold your fabric and then we'll begin. It is a very simple dress. So one side is you have the bubble part and then the other part is like a dolman. So it's like a cut together sleeve on both sides. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick illustration with a paper. So with that, it will be easy for us to understand. So for instance, this is my 3 yards of fabric. I'm going to fold my fabric like this. So you can see it is not folded equally. I haven't folded it equally. So this part, this is going to be my center front. So on this center front, I'm going to mark my neckline here like this. After marking my neckline, the next measurement, you are going to measure the longest part of the bubu. That's what you use to fold your fabric. That's the longest part. So this whole part now is the longest part of my bubu. Why this part is the part that has the dolman part. That's the cut together sleeve part. So after measuring like this, the next thing you are going to do, you are going to slope your shoulder. After sloping your shoulder, the next thing you are going to do, you are going to create your sleeve opening for the dolman part. That's the short part, that's the shaped part. You are going to create your sleeve opening. For instance, you use 9 inches as your sleeve opening. After creating your sleeve opening like this, you are going to come in by about 1 inch. And then from this part, you are going to shape your bubu. You have added all of your measurement. This is your bust measurement, your waist measurement, your hip measurement. You are just going to take your bubu, that's you shape your bubu. So after shaping your bubu, at the end of the day, this is what you are going to have. And then you're going to slope this like this. And then you create your neckline like this. So at the end of the day, this is what you're going to have. Your bubu is going to look like this. So you see that it actually looks like what we have on the picture. Like I said, it is a very simple process. So if you are doing the one that you are going to attach a sleeve, there are other patterns that you attach a sleeve. I already have that one on my YouTube channel. So maybe I'm going to drop the link. So this part is just going to be like your armhole part. So now let's fold our fabric. Let's continue. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to fold our fabric now. Okay, so you can see what I have here. This part like this part is going to be my fitted part. So you are going to use, this is the center front. You are going to use your dolman measurement. That's where you want the short sleeve to get to, from the center front. So this is the center front now. That's what you will use to fold this part in. You just fold it in, and then the entire fabric, you are going to, this is the center front. So this is my center front now. You are going to measure to where you want your your long sleeve. That's from the center front now, where you want your full sleeve to get to. So mine is about 38 inches. So I have an extra of about 2 inches there on the side. So from this center front now, you measure to the end where you want the bubu part to get to. why this part that is folded, if you notice this part is not folded, it's just one piece because I'm cutting one. I'll use it to cut the back. So this part that is shaped, that's you are going to use your Dolman measurement. That's the cut together short sleeve. That's what you use to measure it, to fold it. So mine is about 16 inches. So I hope you understand. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to impute our measurement on this fabric. We're going to impute the measurement. How we're going to do that, you are going to measure, mark all of your points. You're going to mark your sleeve opening first. That's this point, that's this part. This is our sleeve opening. That's for our Dolman. You mark your sleeve opening. That's from this point to this point. So I'm just leaving 1 inch that I'm going to use to slope. So you create your sleeve opening. So I'm using about 9 inches for my sleeve opening. So you mark your 9 inches here. That's for your sleeve opening. The next measurement, you are going to mark your bust measurement. So your bust measurement will be under there, and then you are going to mark your waist measurement, this part. So for my waist, I'm using 17 inches. I'll draw the line for my waist, and then from there I'll draw my hip measurement. So I'm going to add my hip on this part, and then the next thing is the full length of my dress. So the full length of the dress that I'm making use of is 54 inches. So I have extra there at the down part. So I'm just trying as much as I can because of the camera, so it captures everything. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to start adding. So we have our waistline, and then we have our hip line here. So the next thing you are going to do now, you're going to mark your neckline measurement. So you come to this top part, you mark your neckline. So for my neckline, I'm going to use about 3.5 inches. No, I'll use 4 inches because I'm not going to add a zipper to it. So I'm going to use 4 inches so it will be able to pass through the neckline. So I'll add 4 inches here. And then the depth, I'm going to come to this point like this. I'm going to mark the depth of the neckline. So I'll use, for the depth, I'll use about 6 inches. So I'll mark it like this. And then from this point, I'm going to slope it straight to the end of this part. So I'm just going to create a shoulder slope down to this part now, to this end of my boo part. So I'll have to readjust the camera. So you create your neckline here, like this. And then, like I said, I'll create my shoulder slope. So I'll just slope it down to the end of this boo part of the dress. So after that, the other part we're going to work on now. So you are just going to leave the boo part. Let's work on the shaped parts of the dress. So the next measurement, like I said, you create your sleeve opening from here. So you see from the shoulder slope to this point, I have 9 inches here. The next thing, so from this 9 inches, I'm just going to come into this point by 1 inch, and then I'll mark it this way. And then on this part, I'm going to add my waist measurement. I'm going to add my waist measurement. So from this part like this. So the waist measurement that I'm using the same measurement as my bust measurement, 36. So I'm going to mark it like this. And then on this part also of my bust, I'll mark 36. That's 9 inches into 2. I'll mark into 4, sorry. So I'll mark it here. But my bust parts, I don't want it to be too fitted like that. So I'm going to add 1.5 inch to it, so that it will be a little bit free but not too free. You can do 1 inch. So from that point like that, because it is a Dolman, so so this is the 1.5 inch. So I'm just going to curve it into this point like this. And then the same thing that I have here on my, I'll just repeat it here on my waist. So you can make yours as shapely as you want. Please note, you can make it as shapely as you want. So that's for my waist and my bust. So the next measurement that I have here now is my hip measurement. So for my hip measurement, so I'm using 40. So when you divide 40 into 4, you have 10. So for the hip part also, I'm going to add 1.5 inch to it. So I don't want it to be that as in very fitted. So that is why I'm doing that. So from this part, I'm just going to create my hip shape like this. So as you can see the hip shape. And then from this point, I'm just going to take, because I don't want, because it is a boo, I don't, it's not a pencil dress. So what I have here, I'm going to take it to the down part. I'm going to add a little bit to it. So I have about 11.5 inches here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it to the down part, and then I'll add 1 inch to the down part. I'll just roll it down like that. So it depends on how wide you want yours to be. So you can see, I'm just trying to make sure the camera captures everything. So you can see the down part. So I just sloped it, opened up a little bit on that part. And then so you see our shaped part. So now I'm going to cut it out. But the bubble part, this bubble part, I'm just going to leave this part. I'm not touching this part. So cut out right now. So cut out our neckline like this. And then our shoulder slope. So this is our sleeve opening. So what when cutting now, so I'm going to bring this like this for you to see. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I'll pull it up. So like I said, this part I opened up this part a little bit because so it will not be tight. So at the end of the day, so you see what I have now. So you can see my one-sided double. So this part we're going to stitch on the inside, while this other part we're going to stitch on the outside. So because we're going to stitch this one and I want to have the same shape on both sides, I don't want to start measuring again on my bubble part. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use, this is 9 inch, this is going to be my sleeve opening for the bubble part also. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to come like this, just like when you are sewing your bubble, and then I'm going to shape this part like this. I want to have the same shape. You understand? So I'm going to follow the same shape on this part to shape my dress, to shape the inside part of the bubble. Because this one, you are going to, I'm going to sew this one on the outside like this. This is going to be sewn outside, while this one is going to be sewn on the inside. So you see how it is. So you see the bubble. So you see this one, I'll stitch this on the inside. So I'll show you how to stitch it. So this one we're just going to stitch like this on the outside. So what we're going to concentrate on, let's go and deal with this part. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out another piece. I'm going to cut out the other piece, and then I'm going to cut out a long Ankara strap that I'm going to sew on this side. So I'm just going to pleat it, just long Ankara pleat strap. So I'll do that and then show you how we're going to fix them together. So I'll cut out the back piece now. Okay, so I cut out some straps of fabric that I'm going to use for the edge of the fitted part. So the as you can see, it is cut on bias. It's not straight cut. I just cut them on bias. So I'm going to join them together to form a very long strap so that I can pleat it on the side. So it's about 4 inches wide. So that's what I did. I used 4 inches. So you can see them, they are curvy, they are not straight. So I'm going to join them on the side now to have a very long strap so I can pleat it on the side. So now let's go back to our sewing machine so that we can go and start stitching them together. Okay, so we're going to start stitching now. So I have my front piece and my back piece, but there's something we're going to do. What we're going to do first, we're going to join on the shoulder part. So the bubble part we're going to join, and then the dormant part also I'm going to join. So this is the right. So I'm going to turn my fabric now and join it from the inside. So I'm joining from the inside. So this is the longer part. Okay. So I'll join the dormant part. That's the shorter part of the sleeve. I'll join that part now. Okay. So this boo part, we're going to join it on the outside. So this is the wrong side of the shape part of my dress. So I've made my strap, like I said. So I've joined the fabric together. So what I'm going to do now, the easiest way for you to do this, I'm just going to take one part. I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to stitch it on one part of my shape part. So I'll pleat it on one part. So with that, it will be easier for me to work with. So I'm just going to start it from under the armhole part like this. That's from the waist part. So I'm just going to, because it is folded, it is done on bias. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pleat it like this. So after everything is going to stay like this. So it depends on how you want to pleat it. So I'm just going to keep pleating, pleating, pleating. I'll pleat it to the down part of my dress. So this you can cut in a flay form also. But since I cut it on a bias form, it's not going to be stiff. So I'm just going to go ahead now. So I'm looking for my fabric. So this you can actually sew and turn also. You can do it that way, but this I'm just going to use an overlock seam at the end of the day to lock the edges of my own. So I'm trying to get the right part, to get the measurement of my waist, so I will not start it. Okay, so I'm going to start it from this part now. So all you have to do is just negotiate it around the curve, around the shape. So that is what I am basically doing. So you can see it is looking beautiful and full. Okay, so I've gotten to the ending part of my dress. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to use my shape. So I'm just going to stitch it. So you see with this it is easier. So I'm just going to follow my original line on the shaped part, and then I'm going to sew it round. I'm just going to sew it down. So I'll use my measurements, all of my measurements, just as I measured. Okay, so I finished joining this side. So the next thing, before I join the straight side, I'm going to use my Ankara to turn my neckline. So I'm just going to use it to do like a bias spacing, just to turn the neckline. So I'm not doing that bold one on it. I'll turn the neckline and then the sleeve part also. So I'll turn the sleeve part also with the Ankara. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll bring it back and show you how we are going to do the side. So I'm turning the neckline. So when you're turning with your Ankara fabric, just make sure you cut it on the bias. That's it should not be straight. So I'm just going to sew it around the neckline and then turn it on the right side. Okay, so you can see the side. So you can see my boo. You can see it came out. The shaped part came out very beautiful. So you can see the other part that is not shaped. So this part, the boo parts I've not done anything. So I finished the neckline. So like I said, I've not ironed it. I just used like a bias piping, just cut it in bias form, and then I used it to turn the neckline, and then I used it on the sleeve part also. So I've done this so much on most of my videos. So that's why I decided not to put emphasis on this part. So the next thing now, we're going to sew our the boo part. We're going to join the boo part. So like I said, initially when I was doing after shaping the dress, I had to mark this right side of my fabric. So this with this now, it's going to be very easy for me to shape my boob. I don't need to start measuring again. All I'm just going to do, I'm just going to take it to my machine, and then from this armhole point, so from this point to this point, that is my 9 inches, I'm just going to follow the shape, because this part also has to be shaped. So I'll just follow the shape just like, and then I'll sew it to the hem, and then I'll iron it and then place it on the mannequin for you to see the final look of our one-sided boo with fringe. Yeah, it has fringe on the side. Okay, so at the end of the day, so you can see how our side shaped bubu is looking like. So you see the other parts, the bubu parts of it, so you see how it is looking. So like I said, so you see the shape on the side. So for the waist, for the sash that was used around the rope, for around the waist part, so you can just make a sash. So this is just, I'm not making sash for this. And then you can tie it around the waist. So what you are going to do, this part, you are going to create an opening. You're just going to cut, like there's a video that I posted last week, so I'm going to drop the link. You're going to create like an opening here. So from that opening, if you're going to add a rope to it, so a belt, so it's going to pass through. You're just going to pass it through, and then you tie it at the back, so it will now be looking like what you have on the picture. But if you don't want to add a sash, you just want to leave it like that, you don't need to create an opening. So after creating an opening there, you can use appliques to cover up the edges, or you can just weave, use overlock to weave the edges. So thank you so much. So I've now come to the end of this tutorial. So if you find this video helpful, I will appreciate if you hit on the like button. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you. Ciao. Wow.